The night my wife didn't come home, I didn't panic at first. We'd been married for 9 years, long enough to trust routines, long enough to believe that silence usually had a reasonable explanation. She texted me around 7:30 p.m. "Running late, don't wait up." That wasn't unusual. She worked late sometimes, had dinners with coworkers. I replied with a simple "okay" and went back to what I was doing. By 10 p.m., the house was quiet. By midnight, I noticed the quiet. I checked my phone. No new messages. I texted her again. No reply. At 1 a.m. I called, straight to voicemail. That's when a strange feeling settled into my chest, not fear, not anger, just unease. The kind that whispers instead of shouts. I told myself not to overreact. At 2 a.m. I was still awake. At 3 a.m. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the door. She had never done this before. Never stayed out all night without calling. Never disappeared like this. By morning, the unease turned into something heavier. She still wasn't home. I checked the garage. Her car was gone. I checked our bank account. Nothing unusual. I checked her location. Turned off. That's when panic finally arrived. I called her work, pretending I was just checking in. "She left on time yesterday," her coworker said. "What?" I thanked them and hung up, my hands shaking. At 9:47 a.m. my phone buzzed. A text. "I'm okay. I need space. I'll explain later." That was it. No apology. No explanation. No mention of where she'd been. Just space. I didn't reply, because suddenly, I wasn't sure what I was replying to anymore. That night, she came home. No overnight bag. No messy hair. No sign of panic. She looked calm. Too calm. "I didn't cheat," she said immediately, before I even spoke. That was the moment I knew something was wrong, because innocent people don't start with defenses. I asked her one simple question. "Where were you?" She hesitated, just long enough. And in that pause, everything I believed about my marriage began to crack. She sat down across from me at the kitchen table like this was a conversation she had rehearsed. "I stayed with a friend," she said. "I just needed time to think." "What friend?" I asked. She named someone I barely knew, a woman she mentioned once or twice over the years but never spent time with regularly. I nodded, even though my instincts were screaming. "Why didn't you call?" I asked. "I didn't want to fight," she replied. "I knew you'd ask questions." That answer didn't make sense. Avoiding a fight by disappearing overnight only creates bigger ones. I asked to see her phone. She stiffened. "I need some privacy," she said. "After not coming home all night," I asked calmly. "Privacy ended when you disappeared." She handed it over reluctantly. No messages, no calls, no location history. To clean, I checked the battery usage. Location services had been off all night. She had planned this. That realization hurt more than the disappearance itself. "You don't trust me," she said, flipping the blame. "I trusted you until last night," I replied. "You didn't come home." She started crying then. Quiet tears, controlled, like she didn't want to look guilty. "I feel trapped," she said. I needed to breathe. Trapped. That word echoed in my head. Our life wasn't perfect, but it wasn't a prison. Or so I thought. I told her I needed the truth, not excuses, not halves. She promised me nothing happened, that she slept on a couch, that it wasn't about another man. I wanted to believe her, but belief without proof is denial. That evening, while she showered, I did something I never imagined I would do. I checked her email. There it was. A hotel reservation. Same night. Same city. One guest. I sat on the bed holding my breath, my chest tight. When she came out, I asked her again. "Where were you?" Her face drained of color. She didn't answer. That silence was louder than any confession. And that's when I realized, my wife didn't just not come home. She went somewhere she never planned to tell me about. She sat down, slowly on the edge of the bed, her shoulders slumping like the weight of the truth was finally too heavy to hold up. "I was going to tell you," she said. "When?" I asked. She didn't answer. I showed her the email. The hotel reservation. Her eyes closed for a moment, like she hoped the evidence would disappear if she didn't look at it. "It wasn't planned like that," she said quietly. "I just needed somewhere to go." "You don't book a hotel at midnight by accident," I replied. Her breathing became shallow. Her hands trembled. "I didn't sleep with anyone," she said quickly. "Nothing physical happened." I believed she believed that distinction mattered. "Who were you with?" I asked. Another pause. "Someone I used to know," she admitted. "We ran into each other a few weeks ago." It started as talking. That sentence felt familiar. Too familiar. "Talking doesn't end in hotel rooms," I said. She started crying then. Not loud, not dramatic, just tears sliding down her face as she stared at the floor. "I didn't know what I wanted anymore," she said. "I felt invisible, unimportant." I listened, not because I agreed but because I wanted to understand how we got here. She told me she felt disconnected, that life felt repetitive, that she missed feeling chosen. "So you chose someone else?" I asked. She didn't deny it. That hurt more than any excuse could have. I stood up and walked into the living room. Our wedding photo was still on the wall. We were smiling, happy, unaware of how fragile trust really is. When I came back, she asked the question I knew was coming. "Can we fix this?" I looked at her and realized something terrifying. I didn't know the answer, because fixing requires honesty and honesty had already failed. That night, she slept on the couch. I lay awake in bed, replaying every late night, every unexplained mood shift. Every time I ignored my instincts because trust felt easier than doubt. By morning I had made a quiet decision. I wouldn't beg, I wouldn't chase, I wouldn't compete with someone who already had access to her when I didn't. I told her I needed time, real time, not promises, not tears. She nodded, but I could tell she didn't understand what that meant. Because time doesn't always heal. Sometimes it reveals, and what it was about to reveal would change everything. I thought I knew about my marriage. The days that followed felt unreal. We moved around each other carefully, like strangers sharing the same space. She tried to act normal, asking about my day, cooking dinner, sitting closer on the couch, but the closeness felt forced. I watched her more than I spoke, not because I wanted to control her, but because my trust was gone, and without trust, every gesture becomes suspicious. She kept saying it was a mistake, that the hotel meant nothing, that she just needed clarity. But clarity doesn't come from disappearing overnight. One evening her phone buzzed while she was in the bathroom. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. She came out, saw the screen lit up, and froze. She grabbed the phone too quickly. That was enough. "Are you still talking to him?" I asked. She hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. "I don't know how to stop," she said quietly. I felt something inside me finally give way to anger, not sadness. I realized I was standing in a marriage where I was no longer the priority. That night I packed a bag. She panicked. "Where are you going?" she asked. "I need space," I said, "because I can't think clearly here." She cried, apologized, promised therapy, promised she'd cut contact. I believed she meant it, but meaning it and doing it are different things. I moved into a small apartment for a few weeks. The silence there was heavy at first, but honest. She called constantly, texted apologies, sent long messages about love and regret. I listened, but I didn't respond much. One evening I ran into a mutual friend by accident. They hesitated before speaking. "Have you and your wife?" "But okay," they asked carefully. I felt my stomach drop. "What do you mean?" I asked. They looked uncomfortable. "I thought you knew," they said. "She's been spending time with someone from her past. People have seen them together." That was the moment the last piece fell into place. The hotel wasn't a one-time escape. It was part of something ongoing, and I was the last person to know. That night I called her. "Are you still seeing him?" I asked. Silence. That silence was my answer. And I knew then this wasn't about one night. It was about a choice she kept making. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse her. I simply said, "I'm done." She broke down immediately, crying, apologizing, saying it wasn't serious, saying she was confused, saying she never meant to hurt me. But the truth was already clear. This wasn't one mistake. This wasn't one bad night. This was a pattern of choosing secrecy over honesty. I went back to the house one last time to collect my things. Standing there felt strange, like walking through a place that used to be home but no longer belonged to me. She followed me from room to room, begging, "I'll block him. I'll change my number. I'll do therapy. Please don't leave," she said. I stopped and looked at her. "You didn't come home," I said quietly. "And when you did, you lied. You kept choosing him even after you saw what it was doing to me." She said the words I think she hoped would fix everything. "I didn't think you'd actually leave." That was the truth. She thought love meant endurance. She thought loyalty meant forgiveness without limits. I filed for separation the next week. The process was calm, quiet, almost cold. There was nothing left to argue about because the decision had already been made the night she didn't come home. Months passed. Life slowly became lighter. I slept better, thought clearer, laughed again without forcing it. I heard through mutual friends that the man from her past didn't stay. Once reality replaced secrecy, he disappeared. I wasn't surprised. Affairs survive on shadows, not daylight. The last time I saw her, she looked tired, smaller. "I lost everything," she said. I didn't respond, because what she lost wasn't me. She lost the version of herself who chose honesty before consequences. And I learned something I'll never forget. Sometimes everything changes not because someone leaves, but because they don't come home.